Welcome back, everyone. We're doing our second installment of Lord of the Rings memes, where we take a look at some of the memes on the internet, laugh about them, and explain them for people who don't understand what the meme is trying to say. Okay, so we've got this first one. We have Sauron standing, looking very intimidating, as always. And the caption is, "When you open the window for a fly, but it doesn't leave." And then there's a quote, "So you have chosen death." Do you want to take this one? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I like it. I like that line in particular. "So you have chosen death."
Yeah, I guess the guy will kill the fly. He's not if it doesn't want to fly up.
So yeah, so the backstory is Gandalf comes to Saruman to ask for his advice and help in dealing with the ring. And this is when we find out that Saruman has actually been corrupted and has switched sides. And he wants the ring for himself. But he gives Gandalf a choice. He's like, "You can either join me or die." And Gandalf makes a daring escape from his captivity. And this is the line that is uttered after that, basically saying, "I gave you a chance, and you've chosen your own fate now. Your fate is in your hands." Which is funny. I think we've all been there with a fly buzzing around, and you're like, "Just leave me alone, and I won't kill you."
Well,
All right,
if it was a moth, like in the movie,
that
you
would be
could
good.
you could direct the moth out with a series of lights.
That's
Just
true.
turn all the lights off in your room, turn that hallway light on, and open your door. It'll go out the
That
door.
seems like a lot of work. I think Saruman would agree that we've given this fly a fair shake. We've given this moth a fair chance to leave me alone, and it seems to really want to die, like Gandalf apparently. All right. And I should mention that Gandalf does die after this line. Spoilers. All right. On to number two. The
Can't live
the title of this one. Do you want to take this one?
can't live on lambast bread alone.
Yeah.
Moving out of your parents' place. I can't recall the taste of food. Day one, day seven.
Okay, let me see if I can get this to fit better on my screen. There we go. I think there we go. Yeah, I mean, this one is all about hobbits, but also people and how they don't realize how much work they have to do cooking when they first move out and live
Mhm.
on their own, and how much time it takes to grocery shop and cook the food. And so you end up not doing any of that, and you just eat junk food the whole time. Just a bunch of chicken fingers and burgers.
Mhm.
And you can't recall the taste of healthy food. And I do like the day one image where it's just a party. You got all your friends around, you got your half pints, and you're all cheersing like, "Haha, we are grown ups now." And then, a week later, you're starving because you haven't done any work. Is
Uh,
this an experience you relate to, or were you just up and running?
yeah. With lamb wasn't lambast bread, but
I wish it was lambus bread based on the description of it. Maybe we should get into what that might be, because that'd be a cool video idea. Yeah, if it was lambus bread, I'd be fine. One small bite and I'm good to go. It's like a granola bar, but like on steroids or something.
yeah, the pizza box just stack up. That's kind of how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah. Especially I think especially when you first start out. Even now, like there are days where I'm like just too busy, but yeah, when you first start out, it's definitely like party. This is going to be awesome, and then it slowly, I guess, quickly devolves into pizza box towers. Okay, moving on. That one pretty self-explanatory. Let's get to the next one. This one's an interesting one. A mosquito's greatest foe is gone is the title of this one. And it's girlfriend kills a spider in our apartment during peak mosquito season. And then the person who posts this, he has his own quote here: "Our list of allies grows thin." Yeah, this is actually, it kind of follows one after another from the previous Saruman one.
I relate.
You relate?
I don't
I
like
do
killing
too.
things.
Yeah, I do too. Now, mine isn't mosquitoes. Mine are those like little those like centipede looking things that come out of like drains.
Yeah.
Those things, spiders, they eat spiders.
Oh, they eat spiders.
Yeah, and spiders eat the flies and mosquitoes. And so in my house we have a lot of flies, then we have a lot of spiders, and we have a lot of those crawly things, but I'm in charge of killing all of them. But I'm like, it's just gonna keep doing this cycle to deal with them. They'll deal with each other. They're all helping us. Just leave them alone and they won't bother you. But obviously if they're like crawling like in your bathroom, which is where some of these things like to live, it is kind of unsettling. So yeah, I definitely feel this, but sometimes you don't want those allies around and they're just bugging you. Actually, that'd be a good meme. Maybe I should make a meme about Merry and Pippin barging in on a top secret meeting, a council, and you got Merry and Pippin listening in. All right, on to the next one.
Can we not take counsel as we once did? When you get to a friend's house, but the Wi-Fi password has changed. The courtesy of your halls is somewhat lessened of late.
I love that line. There's just something about the speech pattern of that line. And then what is it? The next line is, "Oh, and why should I welcome you?" Yeah, so there's just something about that. It's just so fun. But yeah, this happens all the time when I go home and I visit my parents. And I'm like, what's the Wi-Fi password? You keep changing it. Because they keep forgetting and having to reset the Wi-Fi.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'm like, just get a password keeper or something and put it in there. Yeah, not really much to explain here. Yeah, it's really upsetting when all of a sudden you don't have Wi-Fi and you're on your data. All right, here's one. I mean, we're not really dunking on Game of Thrones channel, but you know what? When in Rome. So watching Game of Thrones in 2019, you've changed, not entirely for the better. Yeah, you could say that again. And then rewatching, I think this should see rewatching the original trilogy, Lord of the Rings, because there is I guess some debate about the Hobbit series. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point. But watching the original trilogy for me, in 2019, so almost 20 years later, you haven't aged a day. I even every time I watch that movie, it doesn't even matter if it's a like good quality, like a stream is like gunked up and buffering. I don't even care because I know most of it. So it still has that a feeling that that is just it feels like it's the first time you're watching it almost. And then obviously Game of Thrones, we mentioned that it kind of changed from its earlier tempo and storytelling techniques to a more battle heavy
It tapered,
yeah. Well, I mean, and someone has tracked the dialogue where the average dialogue per episode just drops huge because it's all just spectacle. So like it you don't really know what the characters are thinking unless they're speaking. It's not like a book where you can have them in their own minds talking to the reader. So you've got to have dialogue to know what's going on. And I mean, just from that previous from the previous meme, look at that dialogue and just how effective it is at conveying everything that normally when Gandalf comes here, he is greeted well, but this time he was questioned at the door. Everyone had to leave their weapons as if they were like criminals and gonna like ransack the place, and only by Gandalf being kind of a sneak was he able to get his staff through the door. And he is also wearing a gray cloak to cover up because he wants to have a big reveal here. But well, yeah. Yeah. So, do we want to keep going? We'll do a couple more.
Up to you.
All right, yeah, we'll do a couple more.
Okay.
All right.
Gandalf, I'll do it. Gandalf with the high beams. Everyone else on the road with LED heads.
Yeah, this scene, it's really strange. Like, what the heck is like? Okay, if you're going just by movies, this scene, what is Gandalf doing? He's doing this for like the lulz, right? He's just doing this as a joke because he sounds like Saruman. He's changed his voice slightly. He's done this weird thing where he's blinded everyone, and so they can't see his face. All for like the joke of like, haha, I'm Gandalf.
You could have given them a heart attack.
I know, right? Like Gimli throws an axe and Legolas shoots an arrow at him. That's how scared they are. And Aragorn kind of stands there like a doofus with his sword catches fire. Aragorn, it's okay. You're gonna be a great king. But yeah, this is really annoying. People, don't drive around with your high beams on. All right, we'll get to 10. All right, so we got number 7. He got lazy as a title, so we've got. Oh, I can't fit this. All right. Tolkien spends 40 years developing a 6,000-year span of histories, cultures, and cosmologies from multiple races and civilizations, including full linguistic systems in service of his fantasy epic. Also, Tolkien, the tree's name is Treebeard. And you can extend this to the mountain of evils called Mount Doom. It's true. There's a few things where he... Now I will say, that's like... Treebeard's name is not Treebeard. Like, he doesn't call himself Treebeard. He has a name for himself, but that is what some people call him, and it's because they can't pronounce the name. So I will say that I kind of like this idea of like Tolkien is actually showing that all these things do have a rich history of names, but the people who encounter them at this moment don't know that, and so this is what they're using as a name. Like Mount Doom is not the official name, but that's just what people call it, and that kind of resonates where people have these kind of silly names for things. Just it's easier for them to remember and understand them, especially if you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
So this is kind of funny, but also I actually think Tolkien was not just being lazy, as the title says. I think he actually has a purpose for some of these silly names.
I agree.
Yeah.
And no, I mean that's consistent. Like the idea of something having a name, and then every group has a different name for it too. I mean, Gandalf is known as different names.
That's right.
Where he goes. Tom Bombadil too.
Yeah.
Is also known by different names.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's a perfect example. Now, Gandalf's name is always sort of strange, at least kind of strange sounding. So that's why it seems like, oh, he's developed this nice name for Gandalf. But you're right. Every different group has a different name for Gandalf, and it, some people, some groups are not going to know.
Aragorn too.
Mm-hmm.
Aragorn too. Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, I actually think this is a little bit more consistent than the joke says, but I do think it's funny when you first hear of these things, especially if you don't fully dive into how, Actually, it seems more apparent if you don't actually dive into the fact that he did spend that long developing these languages. Because if you don't know that part, then you might be like, oh yeah, he just got lazy. But once you realize how deep this runs and how intense he was about this subject, I think then you start to realize, like, he's actually bringing in some truth to how humans and cultures develop, and that's just how things come to be named things. Like Treebeard's not sitting there saying like, yeah, my name's Treebeard, like, to other ends. Just like Gandalf doesn't run around just saying I'm Gandalf to I mean, he does in the movies kind of, but that's just because the movies want to keep it consistent. So yeah, there's a bit of a difference there, but still funny on the surface level of this joke. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've got any other memes that you want us to take a look at, throw them in the comments section. We love looking at Lord of the Rings memes. I just do this even when I'm not filming. Remember to like, share, and we'll see you all next time.